crew seemingly engaged in their proper tasks. She, however, could not rest on appearances. She made the rounds overlooking each station personally. CapAthena's ship, Verscan A529, had an expansive bridge arranged in an elongated half-circle. Its main officer station spread along the circumference. She admired her station in the center of the room, a raised platform 2 meters above the main level to ensure a clear view of all her officers. On the current occasion, however, she needed a closer look, and proceeded to view each officer's work up close. To the immediate right of the entrance, she greeted the signals officer.
Mr. Real Steve 45.
Yes, sir. CapAthena stood behind him, and looked out the windows. The Verscan had actual transparent windows, unlike many ships that use view screens with visual feeds from outside sensors. CapAthena had insisted on installing the real thing. A view screen was more flexible, and, in some cases, safer, but she felt better looking out at real stars, not a representation created from sensor data. Sir, the signals officer repeated his question as CapAthena stood over him in silence.
Mr. Real Steve 45, what is the current shield configuration?
I've set the shields to passive high frequency. Should handle any debris still in the area, but allows for low detectability if we encounter another ship. CapAthena's visual sensor remained attuned to the stars.
You've used the automatic settings. I know because I can see it, and if I can see it, the detectability is about as masked as this sword on my waist.
Sir, the shields aren't on the visual spectrum.
But the stars are,
she countered.
If you tune your visual sensors properly, you can see the nearly imperceptible flicker as the shields interrupt the light from the stars. The only way to mask that is to set the shields manually. Are you capable of doing this?
Yes, sir, the officer said, snapping to attention. He set about manipulating the controls to regulate the shield's frequency, as well as the density of the plasma field compassing the shields. Seeing her officer configure the shield not quite to her liking, she stepped in.
I don't have time for you to fondle these controls aimlessly,
she said, setting the frequency herself.
297.493 Hz. It must be exact, or we may as well send a direct comm announcing our shield strength.
She walked away in near disgust at his ineptitude, ignoring his sheepish reply of yes, sir, and moved on to the next station. The security officers. She could not bear the indignity of having to instruct another bridge officer, so she co-opted the security terminal.
Step aside, Mr. Baker.
The officer stood and offered his chair. CapAthena checked his work section by section.
Weapons systems.